Let's begin by opening a blank VI. Once again, I'm going to move the windows to where I can see them both. The Mathscript node can be accessed by right-clicking on the block diagram and navigating to Structures, Mathscript. Click and drag to place the Mathscript node on the block diagram. Just as we did with the formula node, we can add inputs and outputs. Right-click on the border and select Add Input. We'll call this one X. Now let's add 3 outputs to our Mathscript node. Right-click on the border of the Mathscript node and select Add Output. We'll name this first one Y. Repeat this to create 2 more outputs. We'll name the second one Y1. And finally the third one D. The default data type for the outputs you just created is a single double precision number. However, we want the output Y to be a 1D array of double precision numbers. To change this, put your cursor over the Y output, right-click, select Choose Data Type, 1D Array, Double. Now let's go to the front panel where we will create a control for the X input. The X input is going to consist of a one-dimensional array of a double precision number. Right-click on the front panel and select Array, Matrix, and Cluster, Array. Place the array on the front panel. Let's name this X. Right-click again on the front panel to select Numeric, Numeric Control. Place this numeric control inside the array. Notice the icon on the block diagram. Let's move this icon down and wire it to the X input. Now let's create indicators for each of our outputs. Right-click on the output and select Create Indicator. Repeat this for the other 2 outputs. Next, place your cursor over the Mathscript node and click to begin typing. Let's type in a few statements to see what the Mathscript node can do. This first statement takes each element of the X array and squares it. Notice that I put a semicolon at the end of the statement. This is also necessary in the Mathscript node. The second statement sets Y1 equal to the first element of the Y array. Finally, this third statement performs the dot product operation of the array X and Y and sets it equal to D. Now that you have successfully created a Mathscript node, let's add a while loop around our code so that we can run it continuously and see how the inputs change the outputs. Right-click on the block diagram and select Structures, While Loop. Click and drag around our code to add the while loop. Make sure to add a stop button by right-clicking and selecting Create Control. finally, we'll need to add some timing to this VI. Right-click on the block diagram and select Timing, Wait. You can place this anywhere inside the loop. Right-click on the input and select Create Constant. Let's add a 100 millisecond wait time to this loop. Now let's go to our front panel to see how our VI performs. Before we run it, let's go ahead and clean up this front panel. Now let's expand the input and output arrays so that we can see more than one element. To do this, put your cursor over the bottom center selector, click and drag to expand the array. Repeat this for the Y output. Next, we'll need to initialize some values into the X array. Put your cursor in the first element and type 1. Repeat this for the second and third elements. Notice that when the element is initialized, the background changes from gray to white. Now let's go ahead and run the program. Notice how the array, consisting of 3 elements, the first 1, the second 2, and the third 3, produces the output array 1, 4, and 9 after each element has been squared. Y1 is equal to the first element of Y, and D is equal to the dot product of the array X and Y. Try changing some of the values of the input array X to see how the output changes. When you are finished, press the stop button.